This is a Rogue Media Network podcast.
Welcome, everybody, to Teach Me Pokemon, the podcast. I'm your host, Cory, and along with my co-host, Jared, we're best friends, been playing Pokemon for a very long time.
All right, everybody, coming live from the Sinnoh region. It is Cory, it is Jared, the Teach Me Pokemon podcast. Jared, are you ready to rumble for this episode? Is this like you didn't get any sleep last night because you were so excited?
So
to
excited.
Record?
No, I'm actually coming to you live from the Lost Zone, where everything is just gone, just tired and gone. I had little Ghastlies and Haunters and Gengars running through my house last night, keeping me awake. I need Hypno.
You need Hypno.
That's what I need right now.
Did you see Pokemon released the stats from TCG Live or Pokemon Live and how many cards were put in the Lost Zone over the last year?
No, how many?
I don't remember. It was like some obscene number, like 45 million or I don't know. I could be off too by a lot. They put like how many matches were played, how many hours were put on the game, and then they had that stat of like how many cards were put in the Lost Zone. And it was like just so many cards.
That's crazy. I believe it though.
You're down there in the Lost Zone. You'd have to have so many it wouldn't Comfey. Do you think Comfey is the most common Lost Zoned card?
No, there's a lot of like turn 5 buddy poffins with me, or VIP passes that are laying around here that just after the first turn just couldn't be used anymore. A lot of energy, you know, for as sucking of an environment as this is. There's a lot of energy here.
But you can't just say like energy. You have to say like psychic or fighting.
There's quite a bit of water, psychic.
I think you're probably right. I think Battle VIP would be the mosted Lost Zoned card ever. It's probably Comfey's second, but I think you're probably right. Even though Battle VIP hasn't been a card that's been playable for a while, I bet you that's still probably the most Lost Zone.
It's the easiest decision. It was the easiest decision in Pokemon. You flower select, you see a Battle VIP, snap decision.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, quick question before we dive in. I got our boy Kyoto here from NAIC playing Natalie Miller, top 8. Who do you think wins?
Oh, I know the answer to this question.
Gotta love a good Gardevoir mirror match here.
Do, and if this was a regionals in the future, this game would have been for a spot at Worlds.
That's true. Well, hey, before we dive in, Stray Collections. Do you know about them? Our amazing sponsor?
I am familiar with the collections of Stray.
Stray Collections has posted some of our singles on eBay, and they've been selling. I think we had like a full art special rare Carmine sold over $100. Check it out. Stray Collections, the website, the YouTube channel, the TCG player account, the eBay account. He going into all the Toys R Us's near you. He's coming. No, I don't know about that, but anyway, Stray Collections with a Z. Check out Ben. Appreciate the support. And remember, use promo code. What's the promo code, Jared?
I don't remember.
It's TEACH10.
TEACH10.
TEACH10. 90% off your order.
And I think we're also going to be working with them to do a little giveaway for some of our listeners. That's something we've been talking about in the background.
We have been debating the giveaway. I think it's time for the giveaway. We're at the point now.
Tune in next week. We'll have more details on that.
Tune in next week. Yeah, we'll get you taken care of. All right, Jared, we are in the thralls of the not off season, the break.
Yes,
between NAIC and Worlds. Next season has also started right now. You and I could have gone to a League Cup last weekend and earned points to try to get in the top 125 players in U.S. Canada to make Worlds. Did you go to a League Cup?
Was not at a League Cup.
No,
we were vacationing.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you saw me. I was hiding away in that hotel last episode.
You were in a hotel, and I was downstairs somewhere else in another place. And I admittedly every night I go to the Pokemon event locator thinking I'm going to go to a tournament like a fool. And I know I'm not going to, but I look anyway. And I'm like, oh, this is happening only 90 miles from my house. Oh, this is in Dallas. This is in Austin. Maybe I can go to that tournament. I know full well I can't go. Why do I do this? Why do I look for events knowing I can't go to them?
Cory, as long as I've known you, you've been an individual that tortures themselves. Whether and in two main areas, whether it be what you did or didn't or should or shouldn't have played in a tournament, you never let that go. And then the other part is you want what you cannot have, and you longingly look at tournament opportunities and torture yourself with them.
You know, Jared, I married a therapist so I can get those things at home. I don't need you telling me about my life on a podcast. But you're very correct. Why do I do this? Why do I do this? I don't know. But I'm very hope we are gonna make Louisville happen.
Ooh, we gonna
Jared,
try.
I know you'll have a new baby around that time, but we got to make it happen. Our listeners, our viewers, they want to see us there, and we're gonna go.
mean,
would give the people what they want?
Would you call a judge on me if I had a baby strapped to my chest round one? Like,
And you were pulling cards,
yeah,
out of the little baby pouch. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Research, discard, draw.
Didn't you already play an ace spec? No.
No.
Yeah.
Prove it, kid. Prove it. All right, Jared. Even though right now there's nothing going on and we're waiting for Worlds, there was a tournament happened.
Oh.
Somewhere in the world, people were playing competitive Pokemon.
That's what I like to hear.
That wasn't a League Cup. And it was in a country that you and I have never been to, Malaysia.
Oh.
And so, but, you know, and we were going to talk about this anyway, but guess what took this tournament down?
Unfortunately, I think I know what won this tournament, even though I haven't looked at the tournament results, because I received a text yesterday from one of our subscribers and one of the, and all it was a picture of Chi and Pao, and it said tournament winner BT Dub. So all I can assume, because now it all makes sense and I have the context, is that Chi and Pao probably pulled off a win, and I will probably have some issue with it.
Well, you know, there were 700 players in this tournament, and 100 of them wore shirts that said "Suck it, Jared." And so I was like, "What does that mean?" And they were all the Xian Pao players. So they said, "Mr. Jared is wrong." No, but shout out to Yung Kai Jin running the Xian Pao, took the tournament down. He went up against a Lost Box in the finals. There was a third place Xian Pao too in here, Jared. So not only did Xian Pao get first, it also got third, which we have seen Xian Pao make top eights. That's not been the issue. But taking a tournament down, that is a first in a very long time. So shout out to him. You want to look at the deck list with me? Do you have it pulled up here?
I do. And I'm seeing some changes here that I like in the deck.
Why do you think the Dusknoir is better than the Barrel? Because that's clearly the biggest difference here, right? Is they substituted the 2/2 Barrel and added in the 2/2 Dusknoir.
The Rotom is in here as well.
The Rotom is in there. I've seen that sprinkled in a little bit on some of these decks, but you're right. The Rotom is in there too, just for consistency. In the turn one, just to get going. But
right,
do you like the addition of the Rotom in the two Dusknoirs? Clearly it worked. I mean, he won.
I mean, yeah, he got it done. And I'm looking at the rest of the field. It seems like a fairly standard meta field, but I don't know why that worked. Like my mind is racing right now trying to figure out why that would be more successful, because in my mind it makes you, unless timed appropriately, because you can sit the Dusknoir, you get Iono'd. Okay, great. Then you use its power on your turn. But yeah, that I'm wondering if that plus the Lumineon with the Forest Sealstone just created, because I don't remember seeing Lumineon in a lot of these lists either, right? Like that seems like an addition. So maybe in the testing, this individual just found some more consistency in order to make this tick. I still think It's difficult when you're only running 2 Baxcalibur, but hey, this person made it work. Congrats to them. Still not anywhere off my soapbox because it wins a tournament in Malaysia. No, like nowhere off my soapbox at all. So, but I mean, 2 in the top 4, 1 got it done, but don't expect to see anything of similar in Europe or in NA or even in Latin America. Would I see this consistently happen?
I do think it, especially at like high end level play, the barrel can sometimes become a liability. I know most times you can Baxcalibur energies retreat and keep going, but towards the end of games when resources are getting more scarce, that does become a little bit more of an issue. And if you have a lot of cards in your hand, you can't barrel anyway. So the Dusknoir, it can get out of the active by using its ability, which is nice. And you can draw more than 5 cards. I mean, you could have 12 cards in your hand. And so it does kind of give you that ability to search for more cards if you need them. And so I think that's a cool addition, man. Kudos to them. Maybe they really found something. I will say, Jared, there is one card in this deck, and its name is Iron Hands. And you could just run Iron Hands and have probably beaten the 2 Lost Box decks and had a pretty good feeling in the Lost Tina as well as the Lugia matchup. So, Xian Pao won, but yet again, it's because the partner in crime here, the Iron Hands. It's the 6th man off the bench coming in that gets hot in the 4th quarter. And I think that's the difference maker in the Xian Pao deck. And that's been the difference maker in Andrew's Lost Box deck. I mean, that's just a difference maker in all these decks is that one of Iron Hands. And so, but anyway, kudos to Yoon. Got it done.
Absolutely.
Stuck it to Jared, and Xian Pao wins a Malaysian tournament.
There you go. It's the last hurrah because I don't think we'll see some success at Worlds. Just hot take from Jared Dowenhauer. You heard it here first. Xian Pao's #1 rival.
I love it. There was also Reggie Drago. I think that's not really even a surprise anymore. I think that deck
very strong.
Yeah, it's here to stay. It's a great deck. It's a lot of it on live right now. I think that deck will be at Worlds for sure. Raging Bolt was in here too. On the doorstep, we sent our boy Kong Jin Soon on Snorlax. We sent him to this tournament. He's part of the control council, along with Aaron Kang there on Pidgeot control. Didn't quite make it in. 9th and 11th respectively, but we're close. Anything else on here? Nothing else really.
Oh yeah, 16th Spencer Gao. Let's talk about this a little bit.
Oh yeah. Oh, is this the spread deck, right?
This is Frostlass Monkey Dory. You got the Noivern EX in there, Blood Moon Ursaluna, and then some other little this just feels like a little option deck, right? Like we know Mawile and its tempting trap, and it sounds like if you can't get out of that, I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna stall you to death. I'm just gonna let my Frostlasses tick and kill you.
Sure, yeah. The Noivern gives them options there. The Noivern EX. I like that Elekid.
Yep.
To 30 damage anywhere as you've been spreading.
Absolutely.
So, okay, 3 Monkey Dory in here. So a Blood Moon Ursaluna. Okay.
I like that. That's a juicy little, because you're not the only thing that's really at risk here is your Erratum if you bring it out early, but otherwise you're kind of this one prize machine for a while until you don't want to be, right? Then Blood Moon Ursaluna comes out. Then that a Noivern could come out if the matchup demands it. That's what's so interesting about this deck for me.
Yeah. Okay. That's a really cool deck. I was going to bring us down to 27th place real fast here. The Armor Rouge. I'll say it's an Armor Rouge deck.
Yes.
But moving around the energy. But I think it's cool that it runs the 4 Luminous with the Monkey Dory. So you can move the Luminous to Monkey Dory, do the ability, and then move it off and put it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really cool,
smart
side piece here with this deck. It has the Radiant Charizard. Maybe would have liked to see the Heatran here, but
maybe
I don't know, potato. I didn't finish 27th at the Malaysian Championship. So,
And you never will. You never will, Cory.
Hey, I'm traveling there next year. I already booked my ticket. I'm brushing up on my Malaysian. Well, anyway, fun that there was another tournament. This was actually 2 weekends ago. So really cool. Glad. Good job, Shin Pao. Maybe Shin Pao. Maybe competitors look at this, Jared, and think, I need to run this at Worlds. This is what I need to do.
That's
Maybe
fine.
they go against what you just said.
The rest of the competitive field needs fodder. It's fine.
Needs fodder. All right. Okay. Well, that wraps up our news from Malaysia. I want to bring us here to Shrouded Fable. Real quick. There's a set coming out, if you were unaware, and but you're not. You were aware, and it's going to happen. It's going to be out before Worlds. It's going to affect Worlds, and I want to play a fun game called "Where Does Dusknoir Go?" And we're going to play the music. Jared, this Dusknoir and Dusclops, I guess it needs a Duskull too, so we'll mention Duskull, can fit into many decks.
Yes.
I didn't prep you with this, so I'm going to give you a second to think. But I want to know, what is Dusknoir's number one partner? What deck currently can Dusknoir move into and improve it? Because in Japan right now, Dusknoir is like in every deck. Like every deck can have a Dusknoir. If you have Iono and a counter catcher, you can have a Dusknoir. So for our listeners that don't know, the Dusclops is stage 1. It has an attack. It doesn't matter. The ability is you can knock it out and put 5 damage counters on any one of your opponent's Pokemon. Okay? You can just place them. If you place them wherever, you can put it bench, active, doesn't matter. The Dusknoir, the stage 2, same exact deal, except it does 13 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. 13, Jared. Do you know why 13 is better than 12?
Tell me.
It kills that Greninja, baby.
Yes, it does.
Get that Greninja out of there. So 13. That's crazy. But it has to be knocked out. This is a stage 2. So this isn't like, no, okay, I can just pull it out of my deck real quick. Like, you have to be thoughtful, but it's going to be a game changer. It activates Iono. It activates counter catcher. So talk to me. What do you, and it's okay, you could be way wrong here. It's fine. What deck do you put this thing in that would swing the matchup?
I do not know. I'm not very. I am not one of the players that starts looking ahead a lot. Like, and you've known me for years. I never really look at the next set, and like I know a lot of people are printing proxies off and testing. Oh, yeah. I don't really do that until the set hits.
Sure.
So,
okay. Right.
But personally,
yeah.
I kind of like this in a couple things. We just got done talking about Frostlass. I like this in a Frostlass deck, actually.
Okay.
In different variations, because there inevitably are things in that go against Frostlass that you just can't really get at, right?
Okay.
Like, and this gives you an option to go down, hit something big, counter catcher something else out, and still continue to doing what you're doing. So I'd like it in a Frostlass variant.
Sure.
Other than that, I imagine this has a lot of Gardevoir play. Not a Gardevoir player, not my style of deck.
Sure.
But just being able to get around so many things, right? Because to my knowledge, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Cory, Mist Energy, this means nothing from Mist Energy. There's no way, unless you shut down a power, to stop this damage coming to your Pokemon, because it's coming from an ability. Am I right in that?
There's no that is correct, because Mist Energy is an effect from an attack.
Right.
This is an ability. That is
so I mean, what does Gardevoir struggle with sometimes is, well, before our transition, it got at benches, I think, a little bit. I don't know if that's 100% true, but I felt like it could get around Jirachis and things like that a little bit easier. This year, you got nothing to worry about here.
Yeah.
you get the job done, my friend. Like,
Makes sense. I think this brings Charizard Pidgeot back a little bit.
Really? Do tell.
I think Charizard Pidgeot has room for multiple cards. You already are running 4 candy anyway, so you can run candy in there. You can find it with the Pidgeot. But there are times in that Charizard matchup where you're like, oh, if this thing could just do 30 more damage, I'm good. Well, guess what? You can knock out your Dusknoir. Now your Charizard's doing more damage, and you've laid 13 damage counters somewhere else. And if you do it strategically, a la Mr. Tord Recklib, I think is going to put this in there. I could see Dusknoir being a really good partner in Charizard and bringing Charizard back into the meta because everyone's sleeping on it. Everyone's moved on. Charizard, you're yesterday's news. I think Dusknoir can say, "Let me help you, Red Dragon. Let me help you. I'll bring you back up." So I can see Dusknoir in a Charizard Pidgeot deck, maybe like a 2-2 line,
I like that.
A 1-1 or a 2-2-2.
The other one that's kind of sitting in the back of my mind right now, and we haven't seen much of the. I don't know that I've seen this in any day 2, but it feels like it could work in these Blissey Monkey Dory decks. The numbers I think play out there well to where you could get at any Pokemon in the active,
sure,
right? Like 13 damage counters, 180 plus your Monkey Dory damage move gets you at 340. That's everything without, any tools or anything, messing some up, without any ace specs ruining things. So that's interesting as well. But it's like you said, there's no energy requirement here. So where do you want to go? You go anywhere you want to go.
Yeah. What about just a straight Dusknoir deck? I mean, what if you just like played this straight up or like Ionos and counter catchers and your like whole plan by like turn 3 is to just knock out all your Dusknoirs. So it kills whatever the main attacker is from your opponent. You get down to, I Ono them to 2. They have no board left. You've built up one thing on your bench, and you just win the game. I think that could be a thing, right? Am I crazy?
I don't think you're crazy. I don't think you're crazy.
Don't call me crazy.
Don't call me crazy. No, I think absolutely you could do something like that. I don't see why not.
Running like 4 Evolutors.
Yeah.
Just like your whole thing is just to get these suckers out there.
Absolutely.
Maybe put a Comb or a Klefki out there, slow them down a little bit.
Calm down a little bit.
I mean, you knock out 3 Dusknoirs, that's 390 HP. Like you're just sniping something is instantly gone. And then they're drawing 3 cards, which, good. And then Iono. Oh no.
It's interesting. We'll see. Here's my question to you. Is this just bait that a lot of players are going to buy into moving into this new season? Like, is this just going to be like the thing that everybody looks at the set and is like, oh, this is the spice right here. Like, and then it fades out like so many other decks that we thought could have been good or have a cool mechanic? Or does this really have some staying power in your opinion?
I think this is going to have staying power. Because I think this is such a different mechanic. Like this isn't something that's like commonly printed all the time. Like every set, there's always a Pokemon that does that. This is very new. So I think this will see some staying power because it can combo well with those cards like we mentioned. And I think there will be players that are not afraid of the rare candy plays. There's Arvins everywhere, so you can get these things set up. I think the evolution, the TMs will be really popular with this kind of deck. So I do think this has staying power. I don't think this is like just a cool card that's on the tin and then people move on in life. I think Dusknoir can 13 damage counters. It's insane. That could have been 8 damage counters, and I think people still would have like been, okay.
If it was anywhere you want and not just one Pokemon best card that I've ever seen.
Broken. Yeah.
Although I'm looking at another card right now, and I want to believe that I'm reading this right because if this card really exists, I think we're looking at the end of Lost Box.
What? Oh, you're talking about the Dragon type?
The Kyurem.
Yeah.
This is insane.
Yeah.
I've never, since Mew VMAX, I've never seen a more targeted card.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Why? I talk me off a cliff here because I didn't think that Lost Box was overpowered. Yes, we saw it win nationals, but it was 2 of the top 8. Like, what? This isn't easy for anybody that's afraid of Lost Box. Throw Kyram in.
Okay, so for our friends that don't know what Kyram does, it has an ability that says if your opponent has any card in their discard pile with Colress in its name, and I can think of a popular one, this Pokemon's Trifrost attack can be used for a colorless, so 1 energy.
1 colorless energy.
Normally it's 5, 2 water, 2 metal, and it does discard all energy attached to the Pokemon. It does 1/10 to 3 of your
3 Pokemon, Corey.
But okay, every Lost Box deck is already afraid of Greninja, right? Radiant Greninja. So they run a Manaphy. So like they're still going to get Manaphy out there. So
but that
it
changes the whole dynamic. Like, I understand you may prevent it, but having that Manaphy and having to waste a Buddy Poffin or a bench space on that just changes the entire dynamic. This is insanity.
They're already wasting it. You don't play a lot of Lost Box. You have to get the Manaphy out there if you are threatened by Greninja. So I get it. You can slide this card into any deck. So I'm with you, but you only can use it against Lost Box. So like if you're that terrified of your Lost Box matchup, then this does feel like a good answer. But I just think the Manaphy usually always comes into play unless it's like, well, Lugia already kind of feels good. I'll just use Lugia as an example of like, well, Lugia has no business running Radiant Greninja. If I'm a Lost Box player, I'm lost zoning my Manaphy in the Lugia matchup.
Sure.
Now you kind of have to hesitate and think. So I can see your point in some matchups, but I think overall you're still probably thinking I need to get Manaphy down no matter what.
I agree, but even then, like, okay, so I'm thinking one of our more frequent, I can't believe I'm advocating for Chi and Pao here, but
excellent.
You run your potion, your favorite card ever.
Well, yeah, the canceling cologne.
And then okay, and then it's everything's dead. Like, I just cannot believe how targeted this card feels.
Well, and I was going to bring up the Shin Pao that won the Malaysian tournament had 2 bravery charms in it, and I get it. Shin Pao is a basic, so probably use on Shin Pao, but there could be opportunities to put it on the Frigiback, and it puts it to 120 instead of 70, so it wouldn't get knocked out. I doubt they're doing that for Kyram, but that is one interesting little play that you could do is put the charm on there. Jared, there is another Colress supporter, and it's coming out in this set, and it's called
yes, it is.
Colress's Tenacity. And it says search your deck for a stadium card and an energy, reveal them, put them in your hand. Do you think this card is going to see any play? A stadium card and an energy card?
Unless you're running some type of deck that just demands an energy card as a win condition, like some of those newer grass types that, need the festival stadium out there.
Sure.
Then no. I like just because this freaking Kyram is in here, everyone's looking at that and they're like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I am now looking for the card that says take one of your Colresses and put it in your opponent's discard pile. I will be looking for that card, wondering where that is.
Well, that's funny you say that. There's an A-spec card here that says grab a Colress from your pocket and put it in your opponent's discard pile. This card can't be put back into play, but is only there for your Kyram. Interesting.
Oh, super interesting.
Why did they print that?
Where did that come from?
Well, no, the Kyram is, it is very it's broken. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm just saying that it's not like, and like you put Kyram down, GG, you win, just scoop. Like there's ways around it. You don't have to panic. Maybe opponents don't go willy-nilly with their Comfies anymore. Just like, well, Comfy,
sure.
And 110 3 times is pretty brutal anyway. But okay, just real quick, the A-spec cards. I think there was a team member on the Pokemon development team that was a little drunk one night. And had a little too few many. I forgot. This is a kids podcast. We have juniors and seniors that listen. the Dangerous Laser has to be the worst trainer card ever printed. Not just a spec. I mean, right? Am I overreacting here? Your opponent's active Pokemon is burned and confused. That's it. And it's an A spec. So it's like, is this for cloth? Or what are we doing here? Or what?
Electrode V players are rolling over
Electrode V
in their graves.
They're
Where was this? Where was this?
4 Silene and this Dangerous Laser in their deck. Yeah. I don't know, Jared. I'm not seeing it.
I don't really know.
Okay.
I've been sitting here wondering myself, but my attention is more so on this new stadium neutral center.
Well, yeah, neutral center reminds me of
Holon Circle, maybe.
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah, a little throwback there.
It hit me. This one is interesting because it just stays in play. Holon Circle got discarded, right? So you had to like hit through it, then it went in your discard pile.
Right.
This one is just there. The only problem is if it gets put in your discard pile, it can't be put back into your hand or shuffled into your deck.
Right.
So
it's done.
I did hear, and I think the translation was off here, but someone was saying you could Silene it because that's not shuffled. Silene goes on top of your deck. And they were trying, but I think it actually says it can't be put back into your deck. Like, I think that's the actual translation of the card. So there's not like a loophole around it.
Absolutely.
It just can't be put back in play.
Well, I like it. I mean, we're still in an age where there's lost vacuums, but there are other Pokemon moves out there. I feel like you could build a really interesting deck with. Is it the Noivern that doesn't allow you to play stadium cards? You could get into an interesting locking scenario there, and unless your opponent offers a non-EX or V way to do damage. This is engaging, but again, vacuums are out there, and that most decks are running at least one.
Yeah, I think the vacuum is the killer of this card. It also just says prevent all damage done to the Pokemon, so you could like Pidgeot this and discard the stadium that way if you wanted to.
Lugia, same thing with Lugia.
So cool concept. I wish it just wasn't this whole thing where it can't be put back into play again. That just bothers me. I don't like that. But because that's his next thing, the final A-Spec card from the set, Pokevital A, heal 150 from one of your Pokemon. But if it's in your discard pile, it can't be put back in your hand or your deck. Sylveon back in the day, Jared, would have just loved this card. Heal 150, baby. I don't even need a max potion anymore. Just heal me 150.
Just heal me up.
But if you only do it one time a game, I think in certain situations that's not bad. But your deck is either one-shotting or it's sniping or you're controlling. So what's healing 150 really going to do in the grand scheme of things?
I don't know, but what's really funny is you'll notice that text is not mentioned in Dangerous Laser. So the developers clearly weren't worried about this coming back from the discard pile and be playing multiple times a game. No concern. Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. I have the Japanese team on the line right now. They said that they forgot a part of Dangerous Laser. It says you can put it back into your hand after you use it. So it's the reverse effect. Dangerous Laser, they're confused and poison, or they're confused and what are they? Confused and burned, and then put the card back in your hand. If it said that, okay, now dirty. We can do that every turn. But no, it's not even like give me hypnotoxic laser. I mean, give me my Seismitoad deck back, Quaking Punch, and give me the laser. At least I'll flip for a sleep.
Absolutely.
But I could put 4 in my deck. This is wild.
Listen, I'm going to tell you what I think the best card here is, and I don't know if you'll agree with me, but Night Stretcher is going to change the game. It's absolutely going to change the game.
You think so?
Yes, because what have we had to go through since our last Stretcher card left in order to get something back?
What are you talking about? Like, oh, since we lost Rescue Stretcher, what's
Yeah.
like such a super rod, but it doesn't go in your hand?
Yeah, there's no revive. Like,
Yeah.
this brings back and makes so many more decks powerful again because it's just immediate. Boom. Like, this is when Reggie lost the scoop and the stretcher all at the same time. Reggie Gygas was done. But this also doesn't have any limitations on it. You need an EX back. Like, you need that. Gardevoir is going to love this card. Like, oh, get my Drifloon back. Get my Screaming Tail back. Like, yeah, or an energy, and we know how many decks like are feasting off of this. Like, I could see this being prominent in Raging Bolt as well. You need your specific energy back, or you need that Pokemon back. I think this is the best trainer in it, and it's going to open up the door, make good decks stronger, and make decks that weren't playable before a little more enticing.
Interesting. Okay, and this pairs well with Dusknoir. So it's like you knock out your Dusknoir, grab it back, put it on your Dusknoir.
Yeah, it doesn't say basic either. It's any Pokemon.
It's any Pokemon.
No,
It's
any
good.
Pokemon.
It's good. Rescue Stretcher I thought was overpowered because it was like you could put more in your deck or put one in your hand. It was like,
yeah,
so good. So I like. No, you're right. You're right. Isn't there a card? What Pokemon where you can have multiple tools on it? Isn't there a Pokemon where you can have like up to 4 tools?
There is one, yes. I forget what it is off the top of my head, but you are correct. It has an ability that says you can have up to 3 or 4 tools attached.
You need to look at its attack because this Power Hourglass isn't terrible. At the end of your turn, this is a tool card. If the Pokemon is attached to is inactive, you can attach a basic energy from your discard pile to that Pokemon. If you had 2 of these tools on there and just throw it on that Pokemon, now you're juicing them up, you're powering them up. You always tell me this. Every main deck is accelerating energy. So I don't know. This Hourglass is not awful, right?
No.
Or am I being crazy?
No, I don't. I haven't. In looking at it, I don't know its perfect partner right now, but it is engaging because I feel like a lot of the only thing is I feel like where the game exists today, there's not a lot of not one-shotting. Like, usually in today's game, whatever is in the active spot is dying.
Sure.
So.
Well,
yeah.
Okay, you could be right. Well, okay, it's trash. Just say it. It's trash.
I don't think it's trash. I just don't. I mean, you throw it out there. You throw your neutral center down. They can't hit you. You just start building up some energy,
and then you Xerosic.
I knew you would love it. This is the card I was like, Corey's good. We're going to be talking about this card.
We kept it for the last. It's not just because alphabetically it's the last card. It is clearly the best card in this whole set. Dusknoir, Schmushnoir. Give me Zero. This is so good. It's 3. You have your opponent discards down to 3. That is, come on, man. I mean, that's stupid good. I mean, why is there not? Is this going to be a one of in every deck? Shouldn't this be in every deck?
Maybe.
I mean, even the threat of it has to play in the back of your opponent's head. I tell you this all the time competitively. You take the little advantages. Ask your opponent, how many cards do you have in your hand? Put your deck on the desk, stare at them a little bit. Like, take these little advantages. If you see they know you have this in your deck. In their mind, they're like, all right, well, I have 7 cards. I'm about to attack. But, man, if I had to discard 4, what 4 would I discard? You're making them think now. That was 9 seconds of thinking that they would normally not have to do. I don't know. I just the threat of this card alone is good. I would carry one and accidentally flip it over on accident. And it's not even in my deck. But I would like, oh, oops. And I would like push it off to the side. It would oops, just to get them thinking.
Oh, sorry, that's my
it's my V-star counter.
That's my V-star counter. Sorry.
Interesting gamesmanship. I like that here. Okay, we'll see that at Worlds. Well,
but realistically, like, does it really? You really think it's gonna hurt people that much? I just don't know. Like,
yes,
you're gonna keep your best 3 cards. Like, I'm trying to think of like situations where I'm like, okay, great, I'll get rid of. I got a 5-card hand. I'll get rid of 2. Like, what are you like? Just thinking of like control players where you're like, sorry, control, or Gardevoir, or I'm just like, I still think, I don't know that this hurts bad enough unless you have like some combo that you're not telling us about. Like if your mindset is like, we're going to Zerosis into a Luxray. Okay, fine. Yes, that hurts. But what's your play here?
No, you're thinking, have we not taught you anything on this podcast? The podcast is called Teach Me Pokemon, and my co-host is thinking one-dimensional. You're too narrow-minded. You're thinking of that. Yeah, okay. If this is your final play, let's say you can't get the knockout, right, for the game, and then you're about to attack and pass to your opponent, and they could potentially have the winning hand, and you're like, well, I'm gonna Zerosic them down to 3. Okay, it's not going to have any effect because 3 cards most likely can win them the game. A boss order can win them the game. So you stop thinking of it like that. Play this card turn 4. If they have to discard 5 cards out of their hand that are cards that play later in the match, that's huge. If you're well, I was gonna say Darkrai, but you could get them back. But like early on, you're like, well, okay, energy switch. My boss order that I don't need later, which you might need later because I'm going to bring that up here in a second about having to mill a boss order and need it at the end of the game. I don't need it right now. And then 6 turns later, you're like, oh, shoot. Where did I lose all those cards? Oh, that's when they Zerosic me down to 3. Like, that's when this card becomes powerful. This isn't endgame. I Iono them to 1. You still want to Iono them. But this becomes powerful, I think, as they're early to mid when they're trying to get there. Jared, you go second. Play this card going second. Let's say your opponent, let's say you mulliganed twice. Then your opponent has 5 supporters in their hand. They go their basic, they attach an energy, maybe play a nest ball for Rodham, draw 3 with instant charge. I go Zerosic.
Well, in my mind,
Scoop,
that's the play.
Scoop.
This is
go to game 2, scoop.
This is, I mean, once word gets out at a tournament that you're running 1 basic Pokemon and Zerosic and a bunch of finders, and they have 40 cards in their hand, and then you're always going to turn 2 Zerosic them.
My deck is going to be 4 Lumineon, 4 Zerosic, 4 Power Hourglass tool cards, and 50 water energy. So start and go second. I go second. Start Lumineon, attach your water, put your Hourglass, put another Lumineon in play, Zerosic them, you go, the water goes attached to Lumineon, you just keep cycling the game until you win. GG. You're welcome, world. There's your world's deck right there. But anyway, I think it's a really good card.
I don't know. I'll talk to you once this set hits live, and then when I'm getting Zerosic every turn.
Oh, you're gonna be pissed.
Then
you're gonna be so mad.
I'll be super upset. But I just don't know. Yeah. You're not going to stop an Iono play. You're not going to stop an unfair stamp play. To me, it has to have some other partner that gets the job done in order for it to be really effective.
All right. Okay. Whatever. I'd like to move on to another topic before we go to our educational moment. And, you know, one of us has played Azul Garcia Griego live. And one of us has played him on live. Jared goes up against one of the world's best yesterday on Azul's live stream in front of 400 people. Jared, take it away. What were you playing? What was Azul playing? And what happened here?
I was playing Ancient Box, and Azul was playing what looked like a Galissapod switch deck.
Yeah.
With the new Ace Spec card. I forget which one it is off the top of my head, but the one that prevents you from just auto knocking out a Pokemon.
Yeah.
So it was really funny because I was just playing games in the afternoon as I had a little bit of time. And then I, always look at the player's name, Azul-GG, and I was like, someone stole Azul's name and they're pretending to be Azul online. And then you called out of the blue or something. I was on a phone call at the same time. Like, I didn't think anything of it.
We were just talking, and then you admitted you were playing.
That's right. My son outed me. My son, who was jumping up and down on my lap while I was playing, said, "Daddy, are you going to play that Pokemon?" I was like, "Oh, dang it. I'm trying to have a phone conversation. I didn't need that. I didn't need that." And then Cory hopped on the stream to see that I was actually playing Azul. Didn't get the dub, but I hit a bad beat. But we're actually going to talk about this in the education moment, because it made me realize some things that I think are worth talking about.
Sure. Yeah. I feel like you had it. You had the game in hand. You did all the things right. It's just you pokey stopped and you lost your boss order.
The boss order.
And that, ended up
being some bad prizes, but that's what I'm talking about. Azul beat me, hands up, variance, whatever. But
sure.
I just thought it was funny that I just was like, oh, some poor kid had ripped off. Like, this would be perfect actually for Azul to have this name, and I feel like Azul should have this name. But it was really funny and I'm sure that's happened to a lot of players out there that don't know they're playing great players that are on stream, and they're just playing a game.
Yeah,
that's what's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's fun, and I do think Pokemon is getting to a point where they'll have a ladder with this, or like a leaderboard. That's just the natural kind of next steps, I think, with Pokemon Live. I think they're getting all in on this. I think people have less and less hatred towards it, like they did when it first came out, and you had all the groups still playing PTCGO. But I think Pokemon is putting more effort into this. And so once we get that leaderboard and like a true ranking system, it's over. You'll never see me again. I'll take a break during the pod to record the pod with you. But after that, Jared, I'm just going to be on the bathroom and the toilet. Just playing.
Just cue the South Park World of Warcraft. Code villain.
Get the bedpan underneath me. Yeah. All right. Educate us, Jared. Educate us, so that we can be better Pokemon players.
Yeah, so actually this education moment I was actually going to talk about something different, but then that game happened yesterday, and it just got me thinking, and I'm entitling this education moment Player Pressure.
Oh.
Player pressure. And I mean that in a number of different ways. I want this to kind of be multifaceted.
All right.
But I'll set up this scenario to mean the first concept of player pressure, which is, if you listen to this podcast, if you go to a league, everyone knows who the best players in the world are, if you keep up with this sport at all. If you go to your league, you know who the best 2 or 3 players at the league are.
Yeah.
And what I notice a lot is that the name or the person sitting across from you sometimes gives them a competitive advantage, because it puts you in a bad psyche.
Yep.
Like, I want to dispel the belief that these players are magical, mythical, that they possess some power over the game. And I want to let other people know that they don't have any power over you. Like, I had a moment when I was playing Azul yesterday where I was like, oh my gosh, this was Azul. And then there right there was the option to get nervous, to get clammy. And then I thought, I'm on the phone. My 4-year-old is climbing all over me, yelling at me, and it was funny. I think I would have played worse, even though I still lost. I think I would have played worse if it was like, oh, this is Azul, he's so good, no, he doesn't have any magical abilities in this game. He's just a really good, well-practiced, passionate player.
Yeah.
And so I think what one of the things that everyone has to work on in this game, when you get the best player in your league round 1, or you're late in a tournament, you really have to remind yourself there's nothing that they can do outside of the game. They're in the same confines of this game that I am, and don't give them an edge. There's no edge that you should ever give your opponent based on the name on the slip or their reputation. If you give them an inch, they will take it.
Oh, I love it. Because I do think that's a thing.
It is.
I think they, and they've earned it. So this isn't like a knock. But
no.
I think, your first round 1, 2, and 3, it's like your opponent is more likely to make a mistake because they do get nervous. And I think sometimes you're thinking like, well, are they going to judge me because I made the wrong play? Or are they going to think I'm like less than because I made a boo-boo? And so you kind of overthink it.
Absolutely. And you had this moment yesterday because you hung up and you told me you were watching the stream, and Azul said something about why didn't he do X, Y, and Z?
Oh, yeah.
Why
the artisan.
The artisan. And I was like, well, I have both of those things in my hand.
Yeah.
Like I have no
Yeah.
option there. So,
Well-
but I guarantee you in early rounds, the best players win. I don't want to say win games. They take a competitive advantage off of name intimidation.
They do.
100%.
100%. You see it, when you're at a big, when I was at NAIC, I kind of, you always have like your areas you sit, in between rounds. It's kind of like your unofficial. It's like going to church. You sit on the left side or the right side. What side do you sit on? And so I was like, had this little area kind of by the bathrooms of this area to sit. And then the same people always congregate over there. And I forget who this kid was next to me. I didn't know him, but the parents come up and he's like, "Oh, I'm playing, Ian Robb." I forget who it was. It was something like that. And he was that kid was psyched out already. He was telling his friends, "Oh man, I'm playing. Oh man. And their friends were like, "Good luck. It's okay." And the dude was tripping. You could see he was just tripping. And it's like, dude, it's fine. We all get the same cards to play from. Yeah, can they riffle shuffle quickly? Yes. Are they going to be doing, quick things in their hand with the cards? Sure. Do they look through turn, when they're the first look in their hand, you're doing the finding all the Pokemon, finding all the energy, and you're like, "Oh, I should be doing that." Or like, people are taking notes. And you're like, "Oh, shoot, I should have been taking notes." All those things are happening, but at the end of the day, it's still the same 60 cards or from pulling from the same set. You know how to play. They know how to play, and just play the game. Don't get freaked out. I think it's okay. And I think almost take it as like a learning opportunity too. Watch them, see if there's some things they're doing that you're like, "Oh yeah, maybe I should do that too." They're worried about losing just as much as you are. And so I think take the pressure. You were right. Azul, he was hilarious on stream. You had the artisan, you didn't use it, and you put the Pokestop down, and you had two Roaring Moons in play. And he's like, "Why didn't he find the third one? Like, it can't be prized." Like, why did he do that? Like, why did he do that? And you're right. The other option was, it was in my hand.
They were both in my hand. Yeah.
And he never said that option. And then his chat's like, "Yeah, that stupid player," or whatever. It was like, dude, come on, guys. So, and Azul wasn't being malicious about it. He was
but it's good. The other part of that too is like, listen, like if you're not also watching pro player streams, Azul is so great about talking out his mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It's gold.
Yeah.
Listen to the man. Like,
yeah.
Like he is literally walking you through his mindset. Mm-hmm. And I, from what you told me, I benefited from that. It's like, oh, I could see why he would be questioning that. But in my experience, like, well, you don't lay the energyless Roaring Moon down because it's going to get yanked out and they're going to freeze you out.
Yeah.
Regardless of the deck. So it's like, but it was super interesting to like feel that pressure and then know I'm playing against one of the best players in the world, but then be like, okay.
Well,
like, and it's different. It's different being across the table from that one versus online. I want to point that out too. That's very different.
100%. You are, you wear your emotions on your sleeve, Jared. And there are probably some plays during that match yesterday where it was like you were yelling maybe in your living room, wherever you were. At a regionals or a league, you're not doing that. It's all internal. I hope you're not doing that. It's all internal. You have been known to yell from time to time, but not usually at a.
No, I don't.
Want to play some N64 Madden? Let's do that.
Blitz. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Blitz. Much worse. So, and it's fun. And I will say kudos. Kind of the last point of this is like Azul in this, and maybe as you're playing these top level players, remember this. But on his stream, he makes mistakes all the time. But he's talking them out. He's like, I should have done that. That was a mistake. I should have done. And he's like, what's going on in his mind? He's just saying it. And I think that's why his content is so good and people can relate to him. But that's happening in real life when you're playing it. I'm sure in his head, he's like, "Oh, I messed that up. Oh, I bet. Oh, don't punish me. Please don't punish me." Like, "Oh, I messed it up." And that's happening in real life. You just don't hear it. So
no,
don't be afraid. You get the butterflies out of the way and just play the game.
Yeah.
They might have a bad start too. And it's like that happens, happens to Tord. It's like how many draws did that man have at Worlds to try to win? And it just didn't happen. And so it's just like, Then he passes, goes to Vance, and Vance had the boss. So what do you do?
Absolutely. And you can't, I think that's what's so helpful about live is in live, the parameters of like nothing else can really affect you, but you've got to take that live mindset and bring it to the tournament and just block. Like you have to practice blocking it out. The person sitting across from you, again, has no magical ability that you don't give them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like if I sat down next to Tord, I know I'm up against a top tier caliber player. There's no question about that. But am I going to let his stature dictate how I'm going to play or have my self-talk going on? You have to practice getting that away. Cory and I will be selling cutouts of the top players later on so that you can set them up at your home across the table from you and you can practice against the Tords, the Azuls, and look them in the eye and practice presence of them being there.
We'll roll that product out first, and then we'll do little voice boxes. They'll say like 5 different sayings, like "wanna cut me," "that was a bad play," and that'll be our next product that rolls out. We're you'll see us on Shark Tank next season. Hi, Sharks. Do you play Pokemon? Do you know who Tord Recklib is?
And for Cory, he can relive some of his worst matches. We'll get the Japanese player from the grinder playing Bennett. And you can win. You can relive some of those matches. That just we'll get one of Tina. And the Azelf play for you. We can make that happen.
Thanks. Ruined my day. Appreciate it. Those are great. The Japanese man at Worlds, he had me the whole way. I had no way. I had no way out. He just slowly just was one step ahead of me and just played off full. Yeah. Draw your 4 cards. I know it's played off for 4. Tina, I was like sitting there like, there's no way she can win. And I was climbing back. I was down 6-1 in prizes. And then she finally found that Azelf level X and sniped me. It was so dumb. I saw it coming. I could have killed that Azelf at any point in time. Anyway, this was a great episode. Kids, don't live with regrets like we do. Unless the regret drives you and it puts the fire in your belly.
Fuels you.
I love it. Well, hey, get back out to your leagues, your league challenges, your league cups, your Pokemon leagues. Man, I have, and I'm sure there are bad ones. There are always bad apples, but a lot of these tournament organizers and league professors, all this stuff, they're great people, and they're like doing this for free.
Yep.
And what's our boy's name in Murfreesboro?
Randall.
There's so many Randalls out there. So go support them. Like they honestly do it for the love of Pokemon, and nothing probably makes them happier than getting good turnouts at leagues and challenges and tournaments and stuff like that. So it's season's back up. I know it feels like it's not, but it is. So go out, support, go to your Pokemon event locator like I do every night and try to find a tournament or a league near you. And maybe you can actually go. And,
maybe.
Go do your thing. So Jared, any parting words? It was good episode.
Just remember, subscribe. I think the thing that we're going to be working on with Stray Collections is a huge subscriber push, especially for our YouTube channel. We want to get to that 1K mark as quickly as we can. We want to say thank you for everyone that has subscribed and supported us so far. But we also want to say, hey, invite some friends. Let's get this up and going, because we are scratching the surface in what is going to be happening with Teach Me Pokemon. We have a lot of cool plans, but those plans can't come true without the support of people like you. So we need it.
100%. Couldn't have said it better myself. But what I will say to send us home is, Jared and everyone listening and watching, we'll catch you later.
You can find us at roguemedianetwork.com. Teach Me Pokemon Podcast. Come and dive with us.
This has been a Rogue Media Network production.